You could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I think I'm unmuted, and now my original sound is on. I prepared a traditional native song, if I pronounce it well, Kwakiutl social dance.
Okay, I like your vibrato. I like not starting in the middle or not starting at the bottom. Do you write any of your material down?
No, this is from a book, a collection by High Spirits. But while searching the internet, I found another version of this song, and it's a bit different. And so I mixed the fingerings with the article I found, and I imagine it's written by someone who witnessed a marriage, a native marriage, performed in the 1800s in the Kwakiutl tribe. So I guess it's the most authentic version. So, but you asked me if I write down. Well, recently I did. When I heard a song I liked, I wrote down the fingerings. I made a fingering chart of it. But usually I improvise or I play from scores.
Okay, I'm looking at what's going on here. Okay, so you were saying, working with that manual, you were having problems with the fingering technique, or?
Yes, well, I didn't have really problems, but some notes should sound slightly lower. So I changed the fingering. Mm-hmm. Usually you hear this. But this note should sound slightly lower, so I invented this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that manual and make a copy of the page and put in what you are playing. Yes. So make it a personal thing rather than what you're taking out of the book.
Okay.
Because now it becomes an original piece, mm-hmm. even though you derived it from something else. Adding a variation that works for you based on what you like to hear rather than what is on the piece of paper. The other is, do you improvise a lot?
Yes, I love to.
Okay, yeah. So that's good. I have a tablature system that I use. Being a trained musician, of course, it's very hard for me to learn all the keys, especially all the minor keys based on the major keys and then the modes. And I'm supposed to, if I were doing this with the symphony, to memorize all the keys and the fingering technique. And that's more or less impossible to do because, even with brass and all the brass that I've worked with, it's difficult to memorize all of that. And that's essentially what trained musicians do. So there's no originality there. And I thought, I've got to do something that will incorporate improvisation as well as learning how to take an original piece and write it so I can play it with the different flutes that I have based on what I would like to hear this song to sound like. So the tablature is one fingering technique for everything. It's good to know because then you can take any piece. I do a lot of the piano concertos that were written by Beethoven, some of the Bach French pieces that he wrote down. And I said, oh, I know this song. So I'll take it and I'll rewrite it according to what I do with the flute. And the fingering tablature is easy. I play in symphonies today, taking the original score, taking out my part or a flute part that they would like to hear, and put it in the fingering tablature and then just find the right flute. Oh, okay, it's an A minor piece, so I'll use an A minor flute and I'll listen and go, okay, that pitch doesn't work. So I'll move it a little bit to where it's playing in harmony with what the orchestra is doing. And, and most of the composers or conductors will say, oh, I see you can play this. I never knew you could do that. And I said, yeah, I'm harmonizing instead of playing the actual pitch. So it'll work with what you've written here. So I think, in your case, then take the original piece, and if you know the fingering tablature that I've originated, it's based on the key of C sharp minor. But it uses all the fingering positions that are possible on this particular 6-hole or 5-hole flute, and then rewrite your pieces based on that. It makes it very easy because then you can play the same song on 3 different flutes and just vary how you play the song. And people will say, oh, I love the 3 songs you did. I especially like the 3rd one. And you go, oh, well, thank you. I've worked very hard on trying to get the sound the way I wanted it to be, and I'm glad you liked it. And essentially, you played 3 songs that were all based on the original tune. So learning all those little tricks, you can vary what you do. Other than that, do you have any other questions that you would like for me to answer?
In this particular song, when you listen to it on YouTube or on the internet, it's usually played rhythmically very free and rather slow. But I guess because it's called a social dance, and in this score even the drum beats are added on every beat, I imagine it should sound more rather quickly and rather strict in rhythm. Do you agree, or do you prefer a more expressive, slow, free interpretation?
I would say forget the drum line, forget the time signature, play it the way you feel it. And people say, that sounds familiar. It sounds like a tribal piece that I've heard before. Oh, well, thank you. I worked with it, I listened to it, but this is the way I would like to hear it. So in other words, make your performance experience very personal. Don't follow the rules. In the case of time and the way it should be played, you can vary what's on that piece of paper. And in fact, the paper is not that important. It's more what you feel within your soul, within your mind at the moment, and play that way. And like I was saying earlier, learn to make the old ladies in the front row cry. In other words, make it an emotive performance of, I like this sound. I like the way this flute sounds to me. And there will always be someone out there who will tell you, that's not the way you do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, here's my flute. Show me how it's supposed to be done. Well, they won't be able to. They'll say, well, I can't play this instrument. Well, there's no problem there. I'm playing it the way I like it. Mm-hmm. You know, don't be defensive, but just say, well, thank you for your time and whatever, and go back down the road. It's a personal experience. It has nothing to do with anyone else anywhere on the planet.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well,